Hey everyone, welcome back. And in this video, we will be discussing box model in CSS3, which is a super important concept overall. If you are learning about CSS3, this and layouts in CSS3 is probably like, I keep these two things at the top. Layouts basically means flexbox or grid systems. And if you're a 2015, 2014, 2013 guy, then floats also. So anyway, coming to what exactly is box model in CSS. Box model in CSS basically means how you kind of like display the element on the screen, right? And its properties. So let's start with a simple div tag. I'm going to give it this a border of 5 pixel solid black. I'm going to give this a padding of 10 pixel from every side. I'm going to give this a margin of 15 pixel and I'm going to give this a width of 300 and a height of 300. This is like gonna, or let's just give it a 400 height. This is gonna like clear up everything in your mind, right? And I'm just also gonna give this background color of, let's say, yellow, right? That's it. And we can just have a div of hello world right here with us, right? So this probably needs to also have a link rel, style sheet, href, style.css, and there we go, right? So we have this, but I'm just going to open this in a new tab, right? And right here we have a nice little div with us, hello world, with a background, with a border, all the good stuff. But let's just go ahead and take a deeper look. I'm going to go ahead and select this element right here and div right here. Now pay close attention to what all you see on the screen. When I hover over this, you can see, or maybe when I select this, you can see this box sort of thing appearing right here. Now what this thing appears, I think I also have a, right? So we also have a sort of interface like this. So this is the box model of this particular element. You see the width and height, which I gave to it, is the central content width and height. So that is 300 cross 400. Which you see right here is the, is the width and height where the content could live. Let me just go ahead and drop the height. Actually, it's way too much. 300 cross 100 would be probably much better, right? Refresh, or maybe like 50 would also do. Refresh, and there we go, right? So now if I go ahead and hover over this and go to compute it, you can see this 300 cross 50 turns that region into a little bit blue. That means this is the region for the width and the height. The next thing is you have the innermost thing as the content. The next thing on the boundary is padding, right? So your content is always surrounded by padding. Your padding is basically the amount which you specify as how much distance do you want the element's content from the border. The outermost thing of an element is the border, right? So the border right here defines the boundary of your element. And after boundary is margin. This margin right here means, your distance from other elements or from the outside world. So this is like, sort of the whole box model equation, that you start from the content, you add up the padding, you add up the border, and then you get the full element, right? So this is your full element on the screen. So if I have probably a click event listener or, any sort of hover effect, that would always work whenever I am at least on the border of the element, not really on the margin, on the border. So if you can see, you can observe a quick little thing here, and that is that even though I specified padding and border and all that stuff, even though I specified the width and the height as 350, the original width and the original height is actually 330 by 80 if you can zoom in a little, right, on the thing when I hover over this. So if I hover over this, you can see the original width and height of this element. Let me just go ahead and see if I can say, let's say offset width and offset height width, right? So you can see the width and the height of this element is 330 by 80, but I specified 300 by 500, 300 by 50, right? So why did it not be that same? And the reason for this is that by default, the CSS model, which is applied in the browsers, is not, what you would expect otherwise. The model, first of all, has the content and the padding and the border as separate from the original width. So your original width is only applicable for the central content. However, if you want to change this behavior, you can do that. And the way you do that is you give every single element a box sizing of border box, right? Now what this means is that once you have applied this, and if you refresh, you can see the box sort of reduced in width and height. And the reason for this is because your width and height now include the padding as well. So what do I mean by that? If you go to compute it, now you can see your content automatically shrinks according to what it would make it suitable for the whole element to be 300 cross 50. And in this way, CSS determines that, hey, its height, the content's height should be 20 because we have a 10 in padding, which makes it 40, and we have a 5 border, which will make it 50, right? So if I go ahead and try to drop padding here, you're going to see there is no difference in the total width of the box. But if I remove the box sizing border box, and now if I go ahead and drop padding, you're going to see there's a difference in the width and the height, because in the last case, the width and the height was independent from the padding. It was fixed, it was constant. But if you do not have box sizing border box, then the width and the height depends on the padding and the border. If I enable this again, you can see this does not make a difference. If I disable this, that is the content box, this makes a difference. So these are like two models. By default, the content box is applied, right, which you can see right here, but you can switch it to border box as well, and this would work fine. Personally, I really like border box because it kind of like solves a lot of pain points which you might get because you now have more control over the width and the height of the element itself. But yeah, it's a personal choice, to be honest. So yeah, that's pretty much it on the border box and content box and the box model of CSS. That's how things really work in CSS, and if you know this, you probably would be able to visualize margins and paddings in a much better way now. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I'm gonna see you in the next one really soon.